they're healthy.
All right, here we go. All right, so I'm not going to get into too much of the technology demo here today, but one thing I want everybody to understand is that 2025 is like the year AI starts to grow up a little bit, at least generative AI. Last year it was like, oh, I got prompts, I got these tools, I can do all these things. This year it's like, yeah, but what can you do for me? How can you solve my problems? And so as we're building our startup, Daisy, the biggest thing that we're trying to do is create product market fit, and so a big part of that is researching users' challenges. And so this chart that you see here is guiding everything that we're doing in our product development. We're trying to say like, okay, pet parents, what is the biggest like migraine headache that you have that you need to get rid of, and how do we give you a pain pill for that? Not a vitamin, because people, whatever, vitamins, headaches, right? You gotta get rid of headaches, not you don't want vitamins. And so you can see there's all sorts of things for pet parents, when to knowing when to provide care, all sorts of behavior issues, organization challenges, nutrition, diet. 80% of all pet parent challenges go unmet because they can't afford it, or they just don't know who to ask, or they don't have the time. So what I was going to show you today is kind of 7 use cases that we've taken from pet parents and applied AI to. And that's kind of, I think, the shift that we're making this year. Instead of saying, hey, here's something cool that I have that does AI, how do I use it? It's, here's a use case, we've applied AI to it. So first example is our health triage assessment. So instead of just a basic chatbot, we're injecting information about the pet, the user, and we've got a very specific process that our agents follow to take people through an assessment to decide whether or not you need to have vet care. We're not a vet, we're not trying to diagnose the pet, but we're trying to figure out, do you need to seek care? That one decision alone, knowing when to go in and when not to, it weighs heavily on pet parents. Anybody have a pet? Who's wasted money and your pet was fine, right? Yeah, exactly. And who maybe waited too long and you felt bad because your pet was actually sick and had something going on. So this is a perfect example of where AI can actually inject the right expertise at the right time to take care of a specific problem. An extension of that is thinking about how not just having chats, we're kind of moving into this next level of, yeah, you can use an LLM to create content, but how are you going to present that to people, right? And so even if you still start off a conversation as having a chat, you may actually create an object and surface that. You're starting to see these in some of these LLM type of experiences. ChatGPT just came up with task management, and when they create a task, they put a little task card in there, and you can edit it, you can view the details, you can view all your tasks. And that's where I think, for example, with our behavior adaptive training plans, you have an issue, you'll go through a chat, boom, you'll have a little document that you can look at, and it'll say what steps are involved, what's the objective, what materials you need. At the end of that, you'll be able to say, here's how it went, I had a great time, make it harder for me, or whatever. And the plan will change itself. And so this feedback will go into a document, and that document will get better and better until the user's behavior, or the pet's behavior has been corrected. Third use case is looking at preventative care planning. There's all sorts of things you have to do with your pet. You got to get your vaccines, you have to take your flea and tick medicine, you have to go to the vet a couple times a year, you got to get all of these different things. There's no one place to keep track of it all, and so with Daisy, not only will we have an agent that greets the person and say, hey, how are you doing on this? Where are you at with flea and tick and all that kind of stuff, to surface that information, but then she'll also be able to write tasks for you and actually send you push notifications. Hey, you told me that it's time to go to the vet. How did that go? Let's discuss that and get more information, and I'll set all of the tasks that you need to manage your pet care. And again, these things can start with chat, but once the LLM has the information, it can just store that as a structured data object, and boom, your interface can pull it, like a task, right? So your chat could generate an object, and then boom, it's available in your UI. I think it's a really big challenge to think about, in the year ahead, is like, we've been thinking everything's a chat. It doesn't have to be. A response from an LLM can be formatted and put into a different type of graphical interface. So that's a big challenge I think people are going to have to start thinking about. Nutrition and diet issues, and so not only can we get specific about the types of domains that Daisy has, but we can actually start to inject real value in terms of doing like tough math for people. And so how much food, or how much should my dog eat, right? 1.5 to 2 cups, that's what it says on the bag, and my dog is like 400 pounds, I don't know why, right? So really, it's pretty simple. If you give the activity levels and the age and the breed, whether they've been spayed or neutered, and a couple other details, you can essentially back into what their resting energy requirements are and what their maintenance energy requirements are in terms of calories per day. And then if you know what their food is, you can back into the exact amount of grams of that food that you would need to achieve the exact ideal weight for your particular pet. That's like a function, and so really, if you give your agent the instructions to collect the amount of information from the pet parent that's not in the profile already, and then all of a sudden pull a function, boom, you've got a number that's been generated, no fabrication, no hallucination, and it's basically gonna solve pet obesity, which is one of the larger challenges that can take at least 2 years off a pet's life if they're obese. Pet AI image scanning. So this is really interesting, right? So thinking about multimodal, if anybody's known me for a while, you know that our original use case was dog poop. So it started off as Snap-poo. I admit it, my idea was dog shit. But the thing is that we talked to the vet and they say, yeah, you know, dietary indiscretion is one of the biggest things that drives bad poops, and that's the number one thing that drives people to the vet office when they don't need to go in. And so the use case is there. And it turns out it's not just poop, it's ears, eyes, teeth, skin, paws, body condition, vomiting, all these different things. You set an image into a large language or a multimodal model with a set of instructions that's been approved by a vet, boom, you've got yourself a really accurate image analysis of what's been happening, and you can turn that into real value. You take that score, or you take whatever data object comes back, then you feed it back into the LLM. Now you're having a conversation about your dog's poop in a way that, you know, is going to help you decide whether or not you need to go to the vet, or if you just need to introduce the old chicken and rice and pumpkin and yogurt diet for a couple days until things pass. So again, solving real problems. This right here, I've seen it in our, thread tracing. We've at least saved, thousands of dollars at this point by preventing people from having to go into the vet with that one use case alone. Taking images a step further, yeah, we're flying around. I'm going to give a minute back. Taking taking images a step further. Organization is a huge challenge for pet parents, and like if you have to take your pet to a boarding facility or a groomer, they're like, show me the vaccines. And so where do I get those? So number one, with Daisy, you can scan it so it's there, but then also Daisy's going to do OCR on that. Basically, it's not OCR, it's actually an LLM with really great instructions, just scraping the text off of the document. So it works phenomenally well. But again, once you've done that, then you can update the pet's profile, you can set a reminder, you can say, hey Josh, I see Gertie's rabies vaccine is expiring in 2 weeks. Let me help you, set up an appointment to get in and get that vaccine taken care of. So anything that you can, give to a model, you can break it into more content or break it into more data and then use that to feed back into the LLMs to provide even more value. And then lastly is just the idea of saving money. We've got all sorts of business partners that we've been working with, and like, for example, one of them is an insurance, and they're like, so help us sell more insurance, and we're like, people don't want to have insurance pushed on them. So why not develop a more, a friendlier type interface where people can say, well, gosh, here's my risk tolerance level. I don't have a lot of money actually to spend on an emergency visit, but I love my dog to pieces and I don't know what I would do. And then all of a sudden it would say, well, actually, the lifetime cost of your pet without insurance might be 10 to 15 grand. With insurance, it costs 6 to 8 grand. Boom, you've saved thousands of dollars by going through a personal assessment. And then once you know you need insurance, then shopping for it's a different story. I'm going to shop for a policy that has X, Y, and Z so that I end up having a better experience. I said I'd give you a minute back. I didn't. I gave you like 9 seconds, but that's all I get. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.